These policy proposals didn't come from a boardroom. They were drafted by students across Argentina and Latin America as part of the Decarbonize initiative. Young people are hitting the streets, demanding immediate structural changes to climate policy. But behind the protests is a specific frustration. These student working groups identified that society has completely normalized environmental degradation. People simply choose not to look. Look at the sheer volume of plastic on this coastline. A major part of the problem is the misconception that inorganic waste vanishes once it hits the bin. In reality, this material will sit here for generations before it breaks down. The Student Green Group described this using a simple metaphor. If you want to pull a heavy load and only one person is tugging on the rope, it won't budge. You can pick up a single piece of plastic, but the math guarantees that isolated action will always fail against a systemic problem. Recycling your own trash is the baseline. To actually move the needle, those individual habits have to scale up, connecting directly to macro-level global policies. That scaling process begins inside local classrooms. The students argue that generic lectures on saving the planet are no longer enough. They are proposing a complete curriculum overhaul, replacing basic awareness with targeted empowerment and management classes that teach practical problem solving. To drive this, they envision a centralized digital platform. Think of it as a gamified hub where students pitch their own ecological interventions, vote on the best ideas, and earn rewards for implementation. This app wouldn't operate in a vacuum. It provides a direct channel for working scientists and researchers to feed real-time climate data straight into the student body. By giving students both the data and the tools to act, schools shift from passive centers of awareness into active incubators for environmental management. When you zoom out from the local level, a stark geopolitical divide appears. In developed nations today, turning on a tap or flipping a switch is a daily habit done entirely without thinking. Compare that to a landscape like this. For vulnerable communities facing parched earth and receding water lines, accessing basic resources is an active, daily fight for survival. The physical impacts of climate change, like extreme droughts and destructive floodwaters, consistently hit these under-resourced regions the hardest. Any serious proposal to cut global emissions has to account for this empathy gap. You cannot mandate a green transition without actively compensating for the severe economic disparity between nations. This brings us to the core financial demand. Developing countries cannot build a renewable energy grid without a massive injection of external capital. When we look at the sheer scale of infrastructure required, like sprawling solar farms that span entire rural districts, the upfront costs are staggering. This animation shows the mechanics of green bonds, a specialized financial instrument allowing high-capital nations to fund climate projects abroad. The proposal insists this capital flow must become mandatory. Wealthy countries invest, developing nations build infrastructure, and the return comes back by lowering global emissions. While international finance moves slowly, there is an immediate, localized alternative. Companies and institutions can directly donate functional, second-hand solar panels to schools and residential rooftops in marginalized areas. Global decarbonization is currently gated by the cost of the hardware itself. Without a deliberate mechanism to bridge this capital gap, regions with the highest growth potential remain locked into cheaper, carbon-heavy energy sources. The youth blueprint laid out here connects every tier of society, from individual habits on the street to classroom management apps and international green bonds. Macro-scale infrastructure depends on localized expertise to operate. These international investments require a generation of managers and local advocates, ready to integrate these new systems into their own communities. The Decarbonize mandate serves as a technical roadmap from the region's youth, the same generation currently preparing to inherit and manage these very systems. The Yellow Group's conclusion was simple. The world belongs to everyone. Responsibility for its future is shared across every demographic level.